Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for a new album review this Sunday, and I'm talking about the third studio album from singer-songwriter Katherine Priddy. This is These Frightening Machines, which came out on the 6th of March via Cooking Vinyl, and the album is 10 tracks and 42 minutes in length. So I discovered this album and artist through Now Spinning Magazine's YouTube channel, and I saw an interview that they did with Katherine Priddy, and I thought it sounded really interesting. It sounded like something I might enjoy, so I decided to check it out. I was actually off work sick earlier last week, and I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I was feeling like I need a distraction, I need to listen to some music, maybe some new music actually, and perhaps I'll go on to review whatever music I listen to, and so here we are. And, not only was this album a bit of an antidote for how I was feeling, it's also now in contention for my album of the year at the end of the year. I thought this was a really, a mastercraft in songwriting. There's some really great songs on here. I feel the album is, very well produced, very well performed throughout by Katherine Priddy. And it has one or two stylistic detours, so there are obviously some different choices throughout the album, but I feel like that serves to give the album a bit of a net gain, if you will. Like the album still profits, I feel, from having those stylistic changes that are usually quite interesting. And, the themes on the album also resonated with me, actually, as a listener. And I feel also there is an emotional resonance about this record too. Like, I felt an impact from the songs. I didn't just feel they were like songs for the sake of them, songs that were just well performed for the sake of being well performed. They felt like they are reaching directly into your heart and soul and telling you something. So there is definitely a strength and power in that. And with singer-songwriters, that's what you're looking for. Like, you're looking for really well done songs, really well constructed songs. And Katherine Priddy is clearly very good at her craft, I feel. And, just being new to her music, I haven't listened to her other records yet, but I look forward to checking those out as and when I get to do that. But this was really impressive, and I was interested to discover that she supported Suzanne Vega on tour, I believe, last year. And I'm a big Suzanne Vega fan, and, a lot of people only know her for one song, Luca, but Suzanne Vega has an abundance of other great material, by the way. If you only know the Luca song, check out her other albums. They're pretty fantastic. So anyway, I got off on a slight tangent here. Let's talk about the songs on this These Frightening Machines record, because there's a lot to dive into, and I won't dive as deep as Now Spinning Magazine did, in their interview that they did with Katherine. You can check that out. I will link that in to the description box for you. But I will talk about some of my favourite tracks here. So opening track Matches is dealing with the plights of women who were persecuted, basically, and killed in the witch trials. And I feel like this song you might expect to be really dark and depressing, but it's not. It's quite upbeat and delivered in a way which I feel sometimes artists should make these choices deliberately. There's a contrast. Yes, the subject matter is very dark, and but the delivery of the song is actually quite bright. And it sort of makes you think a bit more about the track itself. An artist actually that I just mentioned, Suzanne Vega, of course, did that with her classic song Luca. It was a very dark subject matter of a song, but delivered in a way which was very bright and very uplifting. I feel Matches has that sort of similar effect, actually, as come to think of it. Sirius was actually one of my early favourites on those early listens whilst I was feeling sick and sorry for myself. I loved Sirius. It's got this wonderful, lush acoustic rhythm, accompanying Katherine Priddy's really memorable vocal lines on this track, and that was an early favourite for me. Hurricane was one of those detours I mentioned early on. It takes a stylistic difference, a stylistic change with a sort of bossa nova sound about it. Real contrast to Sirius, but still quite chill to listen to, but a little bit more upbeat maybe, but no less evocative, I feel, as other songs on the record. Atlas, let's just talk about Atlas, this song Atlas, because this, I feel, on an album of standout tracks, stands out even above the standout songs. It's such a really beautiful song, is all I can say about it. It's got it's not all I can say, it kind of gets subtly more beautiful even as it goes on, I think. It's really haunting. I love the way that Katherine Priddy accentuates certain notes to make them, to make her vocal moments even more impacting. It also seems like the subject matter itself it sounds like, from the lyrics, it's about encouraging someone to be a bit more open about their feelings. That's what I got, maybe to be a bit more vulnerable as well. That's what I took from the song, not knowing the in-depth about that track as such. But a great song on the album. For me, this is the kind of song that will make my Songs of the Year songs of the year list. You know, this song, perhaps even I'm considering whether it is my number one song of the year, even though we're only in March at the moment so far. I also liked A Matter of Time, perhaps was very relatable. Anybody that gets a sense of their own aging will be able to relate to this song. I mean, it's funny because when Katherine talked about this album, I think she said, and I quote, "I wanted to end this album on a question mark, as whilst I'd have hoped to have it all figured out by the third album in my third decade, I've come to accept that perhaps part of being human is being a perpetual work in progress." I mean, it's funny she talks about, I've entered my fourth decade recently. I mean, third decade, I'd love to be in my third decade, right, entering that again. So, but it's all relatable is what I'm saying. You know, you can relate to the aging process here. And she goes on to say, could this collection of songs be enough? If it strikes a match and casts a little light for anyone who has ever felt their body falter, their love waver, or time slip through their fingers, then that's enough for me. I guess the time slipping through their fingers for me refers to the A Matter of Time track. So yeah, there's a lot I think that's relatable about this album. It's meaningful. It's done in a really beautiful, kind of honest, what's another word? A heartfelt way, I just feel. And, you know, you're going to enjoy this. If you like to sort of listen to soulful stuff, melodic, great songwriting, and you enjoy anything which I feel, you know, is thought-provoking as well. It gets you thinking a little bit too along the way. This is an album for you. It's to me, I've been so close to giving this album a 10. I feel like it's really close to a 10. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 because I did feel, you know, in all honesty, as much as this album is an album of the year contender, if there was one thing I found listening to this, you know, now, you know, having listened to this several times, is that towards the end, the album doesn't maybe, I still love it, but it's perhaps not as attention grabbing to me as most of the record prior. So I feel like over 3/4 of this album is just stunning. It's fantastic and it's interesting. But the very end maybe didn't quite keep me as invested. But I mean, that is a real nitpick. I feel this is a fantastic record. Go check it out. So it's a 9.5 out of 10 on the channel. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this review. Do drop a like and a sub if you're new to the Green Man channel. And apologies for sounding a little bit even more nasal than usual. Obviously I've been unwell and it's developed into this lovely cold. Just what everybody loves this time of year is getting a real kind of one of those aggressive colds where you have to blow your nose constantly. It's one of those kinds of colds. Yes. So yeah. Anyway, enough waffle. It's time to finish this review. So until next time, I'm the Green Man. Take care of yourselves and bye for now.